don't know what you're doing, you end up in big problems. And you end up in a situation where you look back and you're like, dude, I could have made so much freaking money, but I was screwing off in UNH stock, right? And then you lost half your money. You lost half your portfolio versus, over doubling up your portfolio. There's a big difference, right? So let's get you to a higher level. Pin comment down there. Make sure you click on that, fill the form. Let's get you in the private stock group. Let's get you to learn this stuff on a high level, okay? Fubo, next up here. Fubo. So this stock's moving for us. This stock should have been up 20% plus today. Do not be surprised at all if you continue to see Fubo momentum in the stock for the remainder of this week. Don't be surprised if the stock goes $4 plus this week. Something fishy is going on with the share price today. I don't know, because Fubo, and we're going to get into the numbers, they came out with like shocking results out of nowhere. No one was expecting it. And it looks to me like I don't know what's going on. Some sort of manipulation, in my opinion, is going on today with the stock price. Maybe people got caught off sides by this, so they're trying to manipulate it down to get out of some put positions and get into some calls or something. But just watch the stock. If you see the stock go $4 plus this week, there's no doubt in my mind somebody's doing something fishy. They got caught way off sides, and they're like, man, I need to get this stock price down. And, here today, get out of some puts, flow that into calls, and then roll. Like, there's definitely some fishy stuff going on. I've been in this market, almost 17 years now. I've seen plenty of fishy stuff going on. So, just remember, if Fubo goes $4 plus this week, do not be surprised at all, okay? So, what's going on with Fubo? So, they announced they just come out of nowhere, preliminary Q2 results. Now, whenever a company preliminary announces results, they're usually either really great or really disastrous. It's one of the two. They don't usually do that. This is not a normal thing, okay? Company's global streaming business expects to exceed revenue and subscriber growth. What's going on here, okay? Well, the North America revenue for this quarter, they're about to report, they're expecting it to exceed $365 million. The prior guidance was for $345 at the midpoint. So they're over, $20 million at least ahead of midpoint. Makes sense to come out with a preliminary number like this, right? Paid subscribers expected to exceed 1.35 million. The prior guidance at the midpoint was 1.24 million subscribers. Whoa. Huge influx in subscribers for Fubo. Wow. Now, in terms of Fubo's revenue, that's going to mean way better things for Fubo's revenue over the next few quarters. Because remember, when a subscriber subscribes to Fubo, they could be on a free trial at first, or they could be, they're just going to have one quarter or like 1 month of payments, right? And a lot of people, when they sign up for Fubo, I've been signed up for Fubo for years. I think I pay $99 a month for Fubo, somewhere around there, right? Because I like to watch a lot of college football, and Fubo's got the best lineup for college football. They have almost every channel imaginable for college football, right? That's my big thing I like to watch. So I end up staying signed up for Fubo all year round, and I think I pay them $99 a month, and I got the highest tier package or whatever, right? But for that first month when I sign up for Fubo, it's not like they make a bunch of money off me right there. They only make, let's say, $99 is only in that quarter, or maybe three $99 payments are in there. But it's about what they make over the next many years from me, right? So that came in good. Rest of world business doesn't really matter that much for them because it's such an insignificant number, but their revenue came in they're talking about revenue exceeding 8.5 mil versus 7 mil, subscribers exceeding 340,000 versus 330, but that rest of world business is kind of a joke. I would actually prefer Fubo just to sell off the rest of the world business and just focus on North America, right? Now, second quarter net loss is expected to be approximately $8 million. That's nothing. It wasn't that long ago Fubo was experiencing net losses of $100 million. It was ridiculous, the net losses this company had a few years ago. An improvement of approximately $18 million on a year-over-year basis. They're getting really close to true profitability. Adjusted EBITDA is expected to be at least $20 million positive. Positive, folks. An increase of at least $30 million year over year, which would represent Fubo's first quarter of positive adjusted EBITDA. Oh my gosh. I put tear falls here because it's just it's been a long time coming, man. And we're actually here. Company's going to report a positive adjusted EBITDA quarter. And you know what happens right after positive adjusted EBITDA? Profits on the bottom line. Ask Palantir. Palantir went positive adjusted EBITDA and then flipped over the other side. That happened to SoFi as well, right? The company is also expected to end the quarter with at least $285 million of cash equivalents, and restricted cash. I mean, this is only a $1 billion something company. 285 mil of cash and cash equivalents, and now getting ready to flip over to profitability? Let's freaking go, man. Unbelievable. Now, here's where things get really big. You gotta, if you know type situation, okay? And let me explain what's going on here. Look at this. The company is pleased with its preliminary second quarter results, including year-over-year improvement in net loss and achievement of positive adjusted EBITDA. At this time, Fubo will pause providing guidance of future results while the proposed business combination of Hulu plus live TV is pending. The company remains committed to operating its business to align with long-term value creation in the best interest of its shareholders. Fubo recognizes the need to retain flexibility during this period leading up to an anticipated business combination. As a result, Fubo is withdrawing its previously communicated 2025 profitability target and pausing providing subscriber and revenue guidance. Okay, this is big. Listen, Fubo can't really comment on where this is at in the process for legal reasons, right? And they don't want to do anything to screw up this potential deal. I mean, this is a deal that involves Disney. Remember, Disney owns Hulu, right? You don't want to do anything to mess this up. So, they've got to kind of stay quiet on this. But this is one of those, like, wink-wink situations, like, if you know, you know. Here's a deal, okay? What do we know about Fubo's business model factually? We know it's going way better than anticipated. There's only two reasons you would take away providing guidance in the short term. One is your business results are horrible. Is that what's going on with Fubo? Absolutely not. It's going way better than anticipated. So it's not that. So it has to be for another reason. The only other reason is because a deal is about to get finalized very soon here. And so there's no point in putting out a guide right now because this deal is going to go through soon. And how you can communicate that the deal is likely going to go through here pretty soon without saying that is by taking away the guidance. You know, been doing this for a long time. You got to put the pieces together a little bit here, okay? So, moral of the story is here. Fubo freaking looking amazing. Listen, I would not be shocked at all if this stock's $5 plus after the deal goes through. And I don't know when we're going to hear about that deal going through. Maybe it's a month from now. Maybe it's a week from now. Maybe it's 3 months from now. But my guess is it's sooner rather than later, and the stock's likely going to be $5 plus after that deal, right? I wouldn't be surprised if it climbs substantially into the deal. Additionally, don't be surprised if the stock goes $10 plus in 2026. Now, when it comes to long-term opportunity here for Fubo, I always like to comp Fubo against Dish Network back in the day. Now, Dish Network's prime of their business model was really in the 2000s and into the 2010s, right? And Dish Network would make they would throw off $1 billion plus of earnings a year. It was incredible, right? Some years even up to $2 billion. Now, Dish Network had a tough business model in respect of they had satellite dishes. And if you ever had Dish Network or DirecTV back in the day, you know what I'm talking about, right? A guy had to come out, install the satellite dish on your house and get it all like signaled right in the perfect spot, and then he had to do all the wiring and drill holes in your house so the wiring could come in. Then you had this expensive like DVR box in your house as well, right, or your apartment, and you had to have all this set up, and the guy would have to make sure all the channels were good and all this stuff. It was a complicated process, and that's very expensive to do that, right? Fubo doesn't have to deal with any of that. Fubo doesn't have to deal with all that complication. If somebody wants Fubo, they can get it right now in the next minute. They don't need to wait a few days or a few weeks for some guy to come out and then try to put it in the satellite dish and do all that and all that cost that's associated with that, right? Maybe the person changed their mind. They're like, you know what, now I don't want satellite. I've signed up for cable instead or something like that. Somebody wants to sign up for Fubo, they can literally do it in the next minute if they want, right? And boom, you got it. Boom, you can watch it on your TV, watch it on your phone, watch it on your tablet. It's so much more of an efficient process than Dish Network used to have, than DirecTV used to have, all those guys back in the day, right? That had those great business models that were producing, $1 billion plus a year in earnings. So what I believe is going to end up happening for Fubo over time is they're going to become a business that does $1 billion plus a year in net income, right? Probably in the next 10 years. And if they do that, you could throw a 30 PE on there, right? Assuming the company still has strong growth at that time. Remember, the market trades in general around a 20-ish PE. So 30 PE, if the company's growing 50% faster than an average company, which let's say an average company's growing like 4% revenues, if Fubo's growing 6% revenues, right? Then you can say it's 50% more, or 9% revenues or something like that, which is not crazy for Fubo at that time. You could throw a $30 billion market cap on this in 10 years, right? Or whenever they reach that $1 billion a year milestone in net income. Market cap's a little over $1 billion right now. I mean, it's just so much upside here that's ridiculous. And Fubo's so de-risked compared to where it was a few years ago. If I take you back to Fubo a couple years ago, Fubo was starting to run very low on cash. They were taking massive losses, and they had a big fight with Disney, right? That's been removed. Now they're getting in bed with Disney, which Disney's very powerful. You've got to have a great relationship with Disney. They're very powerful. They own ESPN and a ton of networks that are like the SEC network and a ton of other networks that are associated. So if you want to be a big player in sports, you better have a strong relationship with ESPN. And then there's also a lot of reports that Disney through ESPN wants to buy NFL Network, or at least a chunk of NFL Network as well. So all I'm saying is, like, you got to have a healthy relationship there, or you're going to end up in trouble, right? And so they're getting more into bed with Disney now. Certainly, in a lot of ways, right? Which I think should bode well for them over time, right? And so I like what I see here across the board from this Fubo situation. So yeah, man, Fubo, what an opportunity. Like I said, don't be surprised. If that stock goes 4+ this week, I will be 0% surprised. Like, the stock should be up 20+% today. Based upon what I just took you through, it should be a 20% plus mover today.